Hey everyone, today I am going to be discussing with you health and stress. Our first concept is going to be the mind body connection. So, what is the mind body connection? This is the idea that our mind and our body are much more connected than we think. Unsolved trauma has actually been proven to affect our bodies and manifest as mysterious ailments. In fact, many physical illnesses are believed to be caused by things like stress. Many people don't believe in the mind body connection. They don't think that it's real. But if you've ever felt the need to throw up or just use the restroom when you feel anxious, then congratulations, you have felt the mind body connection. This next clip features Hayley Williams when she was on the Bialik Breakdown podcast, and she's talking about the stress she was experiencing in her past relationship and how this began to manifest as a physical reaction.
I'm going towards the intuition, the knowing of, wait a second, where you said like you were on a ride, you were like, I don't think I should be on this ride anymore.
Well, honestly, it kickstarted a lot of learning for me about the mind body connection because you know, I just wasn't healthy physically or mentally for a large part of that period of my life. I was getting these like whelps on my wrists and along certain places. Yeah, because your body will make you listen.
Your body, it's kind of like a toddler. It'll start by just being like, mama, and then it'll be like, mama. And then there's like a
Yeah.
tug, and then like things get thrown, and then you punish the kid when they were just trying to get your attention.
Some things that factor into a better mind body connection are your thoughts, your attitude, the foods that you're putting into your body. It's all of these different things that seem like they're not that important, or perhaps you don't even give a second thought to. But really, as I mentioned, the people who are more connected and more in tune with themselves and do take the time to think about these things have that better mind body connection. This is especially important when dealing with stress. Once upon a time, we used to hunt and gather, and we would come across things like predators, such as a giant bear, etc. And our bodies would react in a fight, flight, or freeze response. And the thing is that our bodies really haven't developed or progressed much from those times, in that when we experience stress, any kind of stress today, such as, we are dealing with too much work or we are dealing with family problems, we still experience stress in that same way. So our body reacts to, for example, a heavy workload the same way that it would to a predator back in the day. So if we have, again, that better mind body connection, we have better ways of coping and dealing with that stress. And as a result, we can pretty much let go of those problems, move on from them, and they won't affect us in a more physical sense. The next concept that we will be discussing is the effects of stress. And one of the things that I've learned a lot about recently is that a lot of Americans experience chronic pain. It's a persistent pain that doesn't go away. It's something that you experience pretty much every single day of your life. I recently read a book called The Way Out by Alan Gordon, and this is a quote from his book. I learned that pain involves both the body and the brain. Normally, the brain gets signals from throughout the body and processes them. If the body experiences an injury, the brain generates the feeling of pain. But sometimes the system goes haywire. Sometimes the pain switch in our brains can get stuck in the on position and cause chronic pain. We call this neuroplastic pain. What neuroplastic pain is basically when you experience chronic pain and there's not really a physical explanation as to why. So, for example, a lot of people experience chronic back pain every single day of their lives, and they go and they do things like get surgery and get all sorts of treatments, and the pain just doesn't seem to go away. And in this book, Alan Gordon talks a lot about how when we focus more on treating the mind versus the actual injury or the pain that we're experiencing, that tends to have a better result. And more oftentimes than not, the pain ends up either being significantly reduced or completely being eliminated. I have actually experienced, not myself, but I have seen firsthand the effects of stress, and that is through my mom. She has recently, over the past couple of years, had a lot of health problems, and the doctors can't seem to give her an answer as to why. And I, of course, love my mom, and so I started doing my own research. And I really started looking into, again, this mind body connection and if that could possibly be a reason why she was having all these flare ups. So, some of the things that she was experiencing were she is having a lot of issues with her eyes, and this has happened twice now where she basically has what looks like pink eye, and it looks like an allergic reaction in her eyes, and it's actually affected her so badly to the point where she's had these spots in her eyes that prevent her from being able to see. And they've actually told her that if she does not get this under control, there is a possibility that she could lose her eyesight. One of the things that she experiences most often is, like Hayley Williams in the clip that I showed earlier, she gets these weird rashes all over her body. Recently, actually, she traveled to Philadelphia, and my mom is terrified of flight. So when she got to her destination, she had these flare ups, and this is actually a picture of one of the rashes that she developed. She has continued to go to the doctor, and they're not able to really prescribe anything. This is just one of the examples and the effects that stress can have on our physical body. This brings me to my third and final concept, which is coping with stress. And of course, we all have our different ways of coping with stress. I wanted to focus specifically on some healthy ways that we cope and some not so healthy ways that we cope. So, I am going to be speaking from personal experience because I unfortunately have many unhealthy ways that I cope with stress. Some of those include self medicating. I also, one of my biggest ones is that I shop when I am very stressed out and I just don't want to deal with things, or I need a little pick me up to make me feel somewhat better about my life. And lastly, if I am especially stressed out, I will just completely shut down. An example is when I have many things to do, like literally I am just overwhelmed with different tasks, I will just take a nap and not do any of them, which of course makes it worse. But again, these are some unhealthy ways of coping with stress. And actually, along those same lines, when I am stressed in my personal life, I tend to take on way more work than I can handle. A perfect example is just this past year. So I've been having a really, really stressful year, as I'm sure a lot of us have. And my way of coping was to come back to school completely full force. I took on 6 classes, and not only that, I decided to take on a bunch of extracurricular activities, which were very overwhelming. But of course, by diving into this, I hoped that it would distract me from all of the problems that I was having in my personal life. But really, all that did is it just made me even more stressed in every single aspect of my life. As for some healthy ways of coping with stress, I, as I mentioned, unfortunately don't have too much experience with this. This is something that I am still working on, but I decided to reach out to some people in my life that, in my opinion, seem like they have it all figured out. Stuff seems to just roll off their back, and stress doesn't seem to necessarily take them down as it would for me. So I decided to ask them to share some tips with us on how they deal with stress. So here they are sharing some of their experiences.
So what usually helps me relieve stress is, music, whether it be listening to it or actually playing it. I hardly play it, but mostly music, listening to anything new, anything old.
How I deal with stress changes depending on what it is that's causing me the stress. If it's just like life things, then I kind of just like to sit in my car and listen to music for a or I just go on my phone and watch TikToks or watch something that usually just helps me distract myself and, just kind of move on from it. If it's something that I have to complete or somebody in my life, then same thing, but usually afterwards I try to come up with a productive plan of dealing with it, so that way I can eliminate it instead of just letting it be in my mind and continue the stress.
So the way I deal with stress is I either think of it as something that I can do something about or something that I can't do something about. If there's nothing that I can do about a stressful situation or just something that's stressing me out, just try not to let it bother me too much. If there is something I can do about it, I definitely begin to move towards that direction, and that's just the way I deal with stress.
Hello, my name is Andrea Briseno. The way that I manage stress is number one, listen to my mind and body. If I feel like I need more rest, I'll go ahead and reorganize my schedule to make time for rest and relaxation. So for me, that looks like getting plenty of sleep, going for walks, going for runs, taking a social media break if needed, retail therapy, and sometimes just binge watching my favorite shows and staying in bed all day. So those are the kinds of things that I'll make time for. Number two, in terms of work, I'll go ahead and plan as much as I can and stay as organized as possible. I really try to focus on all the things that I can control, and I live by under promising and over delivering because I'm realistic about goals and I know what I'm capable of in terms of what I can do in a day. Number three, I believe life is meant to be enjoyed, so I do all of the things that bring me joy in order to be my best and give my best.
And so there you have it. I hope that this video was helpful in some way. I know that we all deal with stress, something that we, of course, will continue to deal with for the rest of our lives. And so please just take care of yourselves. I know that sometimes that's much easier said than done, and of course, I know that from experience, but try to take that time to listen to your body and what it's telling you. And if you have some sort of unexplained pain, think about what's going on in your life. Just like Dr. Mayim Bialik was talking about, the body has a way of trying to communicate with you. So always just try to take that into consideration. Please take care of yourselves. And remember that if you don't do so, you are unable to take care of other people that you love. So try to put yourself first in that way, and I hope that you guys stay safe. Bye.